Welcome Ryan Hobby to the hot seat. But Ryan, you told me that you always had good ice before. So weren't you worried about losing your reputation by going to REALice?
Oh, of course. Of course. It's always scary doing something new, you know?
What made you move forward?
Hearing all the guys that have been in the industry for a while now, hearing them saying, hey, I would never, ever do it and never do it. And then they eventually did do it and it was only better. Hearing those guys, it kind of solidified in my mind that it's probably a good idea to try this.
So is the ice still king at your arena?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us about your arena. How busy is it? What do you got going on there?
We're year round. We have everything from high school to men's league. We have our in-house travel league, our team, the Royals. We're pretty busy all year round.
Wayne Bacon, you're next on the hot seat. This is 2-year-old ice with REALice. You weren't very excited about putting REALice in at the beginning. I remember that. Were you worried about losing your reputation?
Yeah, that's pretty true, you know, being in the business for 35 years and then you have something new comes into this system and someone's just trying to tell something is what I'm thinking, right? But I'll tell you, I sure learned my lesson.
What was your lesson, Wayne?
So clean, fast, everything. I mean, it's day to night, or it's really hard to teach, a dog new tricks. And I highly recommend that, we do teach old dogs new tricks.
Speaking of old dogs and new tricks,
right?
Paul Jackson. Yeah. I'm kidding, Paul. He's at a 4,000 seat arena and you can actually see that shiny REALice ice, what that looks like. But Paul, it's an event center and a hockey center. Weren't you nervous to be going to something new with REALice?
I live on the edge all the time, so not really. And when I read about it, it sounded really, really good. And our facilities manager has always been complaining about the high hot water bills. It was his impetus actually that got us into this. Once we started, we put away our misting wand and used the handheld to put the ice down this year, not really realizing what it was going to be like. And what we said, well, we're going to give it a shot. A lot of skeptics, of course, and it worked out fine. We had problems taking it out because it was so hard and dense. Everybody was saying how hard the ice was. They just kept commenting about it, how the puck movement was really a lot better. This poor guy here with his puck loader, I mean, he was, I don't want to say it, but he was cursing, trying to get this ice out. But we finally got it out. But all year, it's really great. Actually, and the other comment we had from the owners of the Thunderbirds was how the logos were able to be viewed all season. We used to have problems probably 3/4 of the way through the season where the logos just disappeared, or a lot of them disappeared. You couldn't really see what they were. This year, right to the very end, you could see them really, really well. So that was another good feature.
Yeah, no, I was a little nervous at first, but it went pretty smooth, to be honest. And it was a learning curve at first to see how it would actually take. But we've gotten through 2 years now with it.
So was it a big change going from hot water?
No, it really wasn't. We had a lot of skeptics. If there was a problem, that was it. It was the skeptics. And we had one guy who just so insisted on hot water, and he finally became a believer, but it took him all season to realize that, something is actually working. That was really the only issue we had. As far as changing things, we really didn't. We could see the ice was setting up a whole lot quicker than when we were using hot water. No, it was no problems whatsoever. We always check. We keep it about 1.5 inches everywhere. So it's not measure 3 times a week just to make sure. So I don't know if other rinks do that or not.
Well, Wayne Bacon, you guys measure quite a bit, don't you?
Every day.
Why is that, Wayne? That's a little extreme, isn't it?
No, because I have nothing to do with any of the ice making, so you got to do something, right?
Have you actually seen that you can do less maintenance now of your ice than before?
100%. Like I say, I get so bored, I just run the edge around for something to do. You know it because I tell you it all the time. I'm pretty bored. I usually do the rink sides about once a month.
You run your edger now about once a month. What were you doing before you switched to REALice from hot water?
Twice a week.
How thick are you keeping your ice?
Right now it's 1.25 inches everywhere. And
how much warmer are you really running your ice? Are you set on brine or are you on slab?
I was running at 16 and 17. Now I'm 23 on both sides.
23 degrees Fahrenheit.
Is that ice temperature or slab temperature, Wayne?
So that'd be the ice temperature.
Oh, the ice temperature. Okay.
And the slab too, yeah. They run both the same. Out of that treaty tournament that we had, there was 98 floods in 3.5 days, and the compressor only ran for 26 hours total. Not one area or one rink was not frozen when we got off, and that was running at 23 both sides.
So that's pretty amazing. All of those floods, adult players, did you ever need to have somebody go out onto your ice and do any patching?
Never. And you say something like that. I got a junior guys that come here and a coach, and that's one thing he says, from the old days, he said, we used to chop it up like crazy. He says, now we don't even chop it up. We can't even hardly scar it. And I said, I know. But yeah, no, I didn't have any problems whatsoever with the ice. Not a thing.
How much snow are you taking off when you're doing an ice make? How much of a bucket?
When we're flooding, maybe a quarter.
Ryan Hobby, you're on a sand floor, but you're not running so thick, are you, as typical sand floors?
Yeah, we're about 1.5 inches like everyone else.
Well, but that's not everybody else running on sand.
Oh, well, we try to keep it 1.5 inches for sure.
And has anything changed for you regarding the maintenance?
Probably it's less edging, I would say. The corners, they seem to last a little. Obviously, the corners get high, most often. It definitely seems to last much longer than if we were using the hot water the old way.
The edging, as everybody's mentioned, we do less edging right now, but no, we do routine maintenance, edging probably twice a week, if that. It's just held up really, really well this year. We had a bunch of engineers in the fall that we were explaining this to them, and they thought it was just the neatest idea coming up with this. And of course, we told them about using our self-leveling water. And they all looked at me, when I mentioned it to them, they all looked at me like, oh, wait a minute, isn't water? Yeah, they finally got it, but it was a good one.
But Paul, you're also a referee. So You skate on that ice.
Yep.
What is the difference between
it's a lot harder, and like I said, the puck movement is a lot better than it used to be. The puck movement is, everybody has mentioned that, just about how good it is, and of course the smell of the building has changed.
What do you mean?
It's got a fresh Febreze smell to it now. It just smells different. Everybody's commented. All the fans that come in, first thing they mention is about the smell. Yep.
Come on, we are not eliminating hockey stink. You can't say that.
No, we're not, but the rest of it is good.
If you had a second facility, like in Canada, we have 26 repeat customers. Would you be a repeat customer?
Oh, yeah. Yep. And we're trying to get some of the other rinks around here. They've asked me about it. And then the figure skaters, too, have remarked about how hard it is. So,
okay, with figure skaters, do you see a difference in the blowouts?
Yeah, they're not as deep as they used to be. The only problem we have is with the Thunderbirds, and I'm sure those of you who have pro teams, they do these drills that just wreck the ice. I mean, they just go round and round and round and round for half an hour. And, it takes a couple zams to get it right back to the way it was. But again, no problems. No problem. We expect that, but there's really no problems at all. I wouldn't say there'd really be any. I think it's just the upside to it. I think after seeing it for a year here, and we had some come down from PNC Arena where the Hurricanes play and actually saw it, and they were impressed. So I don't know if it's just going to take a matter of time with the right people, but it works.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you guys, anytime I'd reach out, you're right there, 5 minutes later, or right away. We don't have the luxury of taking the ice completely out just because we are year round. I brought it down to about 1 inch, and then from there, we just built it back up, that other half inch. Where it's at, we're probably laying down, I'd say, between 70 and 75 degree water right now.
And what were you running at with hot water?
It was probably set to like 185 downstairs, and by the time I got to the back, it was probably like 160.
Wayne, how cold is your flood water?
60.
Tim, how cold is the flood water there in Uxbridge?
We're about 60 to 65. Just kind of like tap water.
So you talked about your hardness, and you've seen an improvement in your hardness with your REALice.
Prior to putting in the REALice, I'd have to take off the pipe on the ZAM. I'd have to knock it out because there'd be a bunch of calcium buildup that due to the hard water. So has been no issue at all, and I've actually noticed there's less calcium buildup, if any, really. And the only if it is a negative, it would be just it just takes a little bit to kind of figure out what temperature you want to try and run it at. I mean, I wouldn't call that a negative. That's more of like a testing process. Right now I have it set to 22. It's just getting a little warmer out.
What would you tell someone who is on the fence and a little bit nervous?
I mean, if you're on the fence, then you're definitely thinking about it. I would say just go ahead and do it. There's really no negatives. You're going to save money. You get the rebates.
So you are seeing the savings. You are seeing the lower compressor runtime.
100%. Yep.
Are you following our best practices?
I am. I don't know if my drivers are.
There are best practices. We say avoid trickle filling, keep your blade sharp, shave with each flood, don't just pick up the snow. We also say build in an early morning drive shave into your routine. That's something that you do, isn't it?
It depends. So some mornings we have guys on the ice at like 4 a.m. before school lessons and stuff. So you can pretty much bet that I'm not coming and doing a dry cut those mornings, but pretty much the other days, yes, I do a dry cut.
Is there something that can be done, do you think, to get everybody's ducks in a line?
I mean, you have to drive consistently. Like, it's not a race to just finish the ice for everyone to just jump back on the ice again, right? So if you take the time to do the flood and you drive consistently, the water just smooths it right out, right?
I want to know who in our Zoom meeting has the reputation of having the best ice.
I have the best ice in Winston-Salem.
Yeah.
We have the only rink in Winston-Salem too, but I have the best.